What's happening, everyone? Nicky Hawkins here, West Ham Fan TV. Now, I don't normally do these sort of videos. The last time I sat in this car park at work doing a video like this was when I was talking about the Man United bus incident at the Bowling. So that's how long ago I last done one of these. But I was off, obviously celebrating a great victory, talking to fans last night about the great victory against West Brom, a thrilling game for all West Ham fans concerned. But I woke up this morning to the news, and I didn't see this at the game, I must admit, that Jake Livermore, obviously there was a fracas down at the touchline as he got substituted on the 68th minute. And there's a few rumours flying around about what was said and what was done. Now, I'm going to go through a couple of scenarios now and tell you why that neither party should be harshly treated in this situation. Now, there's talk of bans going around for the fan. There's talk of bans going around for Jake Livermore. Now, let me explain a little bit about what was alleged to be said. Allegedly, after Jake Livermore came off after the 68th minute, there was an incident where a fan shouted out saying that incensed Livermore. Now, at this moment, we don't know what it is, but there's a couple of scenarios, likely scenarios that are going around. One is that something was said about Jake Livermore's child, which, if you don't know what I'm talking about there, in 2014, in May 2014, tragically, Jake Livermore lost a son, a child after they was born, just a few hours old. And I'll tell you something now, as a father myself, you know, I couldn't imagine, no young man should have to deal with that sort of pain. And as a result, Jake Livermore slipped into depression and became addicted to cocaine. Now, this is unfortunate for him. Obviously, that incident took that path. But saying that, there are ways medically to deal with them, and cocaine is never the answer, especially for a professional sportsman. Now, one of the incidents, one of the scenarios that are reported is that someone from the West Ham crowd shouted out abuse about Jake Livermore's deceased child. Now, that is never right in any scenario. If that's the case, should the fan be banned? We all say something in the heat of the moment. You know, people get over passionate. We all say stupid things. That is a ridiculous thing to say in any situation. And maybe the fans should get banned, but the fans should have a chance to voice an apology, in my opinion, because what I'm about to say about Jake Livermore next may shock a few people. Now, another scenario that has come about is that somebody shouted out abuse that Jake Livermore was using cocaine. The fact that they called him a in inverted commas, cokehead. Now, if that's the case, and he's jumped into the crowd for that, I know that, you know, what you've got to think about here as a context is that everything in that situation is linked. Jake Livermore was, as far as we know, not using cocaine before the incident, so he would instantly associate the use of cocaine with the death of his child, which is why I think that, you know, football in general and the FA and West Ham and West Brom and whoever's involved should look at this incident and give him the benefit of the doubt, you know. Obviously, we've had a couple of incidents in this country where somebody's jumped in the crowd and got big bans. Obviously, the big one, Eric Cantona, you know, 20-odd years ago now, he got banned for 9 months. And more recently in France, Patrice Evra, I think it was banned for about 2 years for jumping in the crowd and starting altercations. Now, look, we would all be, and I've seen things on Twitter, and the thing that shocked me most is that it's Liverpool fans that are you know, damning the fan before the facts are known. A lot of Liverpool fans go, you know, he must be guilty because he's a West Ham fan. He must be guilty. Now, of all clubs, I think Liverpool fans should know the, what's the word? should know the importance of being found guilty before you're trialed. You know, no, you're not innocent until proven guilty. Liverpool fans should know that more than anybody, which is more than shocking. Which is shocking to me because obviously West Ham fans get a bad rap. But we've all said things at football. Like in the case of the fan, if the things were said, we've all said things at football that we shouldn't have. You know, I've seen games where, you know, I've watched the Liverpool Man United game where one half of the stadium's talking about the tragedy of the '96. They're singing derogatory songs about that, and the other half of the stadium is singing derogatory songs about the Munich disaster. So, you know, we all say things at football that we don't mean. So maybe it was just I wouldn't say a slip of the tongue, but it was said in the wrong, in the heat of the passion, you know. But there is no place for that in football, like personal attacks like that on someone's, a tragedy of that, you know, of that magnitude. Jake Livermore, obviously, as I said, take aside football out of it, as a person, nobody should ever go through the tragedy that he went through, and you can understand things. Now, he should get a chance to apologise, you know, issue a public apology to Jake Livermore if that was said. If it was the other way round and it was just the cocaine abuse, now this brings on another dimension into it, because if you've used cocaine and you're playing professional football in front of thousands and thousands of people will say things about that. You know, that was a personal choice of Jake Livermore's. He went on to use cocaine. He could have obviously used medication, you know, to deal with his depression. He could have used, you know, prescribed medication, but he used cocaine. Now, look, we've all heard songs in the past about different people. You know, people sing songs, as I said, about the Munich disaster, about the '96, about managers having heart attacks. I've heard all sorts of stuff. You know, vile stuff comes out of the terraces at times, and I don't think it's always personal. It's just what is said and what is thought at the heat in a moment, and it's stupid. But if it was the cokehead thing and he's jumped into the crowd, now that could, you know, it could cause really big professional complications for Livermore, because, as I said, we've just seen Patrice Evra, 2-year ban for jumping into that, and he's got, you know, that sort of thing. Although it's not on, I don't believe it's on, but them things will be said by terraces, you know, individuals. You can't, there's 56,000 people in there, somebody's going to shout something stupid out. You can't be jumping into a crowd every time someone, you know, has a personal dig at you over something as petty as you know, narcotic use. That being said, as I said before, it's going to be associated in Livermore's mind as the death of his son. So it would be just fair, seeing as I said that the West Ham fan, if he said something about his son, should have a chance to apologise, whether Livermore will accept the apology or not, and he should have at least a year's ban for doing that, if not more. In the case of Livermore, I think that he should be taken out of the game for a few weeks, and maybe put back into counselling, and you know, someone who's going to teach him that, you know, you have to block out these things. You know, these things are going to be said while you're still playing professional football, especially at a ground like West Ham when you've played for Tottenham. So, you know, people are not going to like you from the get-go. You know, Jake Livermore was a Spurs player, and people were associating with Spurs, and obviously the Spurs and West Ham rivalry, you know, goes really deep. So, you know, things are going to be said in the heat of the moment. Not everyone means it. I know that, you know, you get some people that, you know, just go out to do that sort of thing. But no, he should be taken out of the game for a few weeks. No 2-year ban, no 9-month ban for jumping into the crowd and starting fighting with people. As I said, if something was said about his son, you know, leave him be. But if it was just a cocaine thing, then yeah, take him out of the game for a few weeks. Get him taught that these things are going to be said. Teach him how to block it out. Get him some counselling to deal with the issues that he still has. Obviously, you know, he slipped into depression, which is something that you know, I can vouch for you. He's not an easy thing to deal with. It takes years. You know, it's always lingering there. Obviously, the thoughts of a deceased child would be, you know, with you for a lifetime. But you know, I think sensible things should be done here with Jake Livermore. No ban. Take him out for a few weeks. Give him some counselling. Give him the help he needs. Football aside, I know, you know, it's easy to turn around and say, oh yeah, let's ban him for 2 years. But this incident is not, you know, someone having a go at Cantona and him losing his rag. This is something, you know, very personal to Jake Livermore. And for the person that shouted out the stuff as well, they should apologise. If it was said about his child, they should get a little ban. You know, take a year out and really like assess what you're saying to people and realise that these people are human beings and not, you know, just, you know, pieces of meat that, you know, you can say and do what you want to. But I don't want to see any fan banned for life, you know. But Jake Livermore, yeah, I think the FA should take a stance on this one. Just take him out, make sure everything's okay in his mind, make sure that he gets the counselling that he needs. I think the FA should take a stance on this one. Just take him out, make sure everything's okay in his mind, make sure that he gets the counselling that he needs, and make sure, you know, that he's back playing football for West Brom. You know, that's his job, that's his passion. It's what he worked all his life to do. You know, I wouldn't like to see someone take 2 years out of the game for losing your rag over something so tragic. Anyway, this is me, Nicky Hawkins. Look out for the stuff for Spurs tomorrow. Thank you very much for listening. I hope the FA does the right thing here, and come on, you irons.